US President Barack Obama says American soldiers are getting ready to take on a different job in Afghanistan as they wind down their presence there following more than a decade of war. He says US troops will transition to a support role in the spring and Afghan forces will lead the security effort.
It is America's longest war, forged in the attacks on New York and Washington, and launched across the deserts and mountains of Afghanistan.
Aim towards the ditch on the right side! They're getting hit!
A fight against Al-Qaeda that soon became a war against a virulent insurgency. Now, more than 10 years since it began, the mission is about to end. It's the job of these two men to chart how that happens and what comes next in Afghanistan.
Ahead of this meeting between Barack Obama and Hamid Karzai, there had been indications from foreign military commanders here in Afghanistan that they wanted to retain as many foreign troops as possible through this summer's so-called fighting season. Now the Afghan troops will be pushed to the front in that fighting season, and that's going to be a big test for them. As we know, towards the end of last year, a US Department of Defense report revealed that only one of 23 Afghan battalions was ready to look after itself without any foreign assistance. However, the Afghan military will still have that crucial NATO and US close air support when they go out of operations. Beyond 2014 and the US presence here in Afghanistan, well, it looks like now that number is going to be in the low thousands.
This week, the White House has hinted for the first time, really, that it is also considering the zero option, as it's being called. That is, leaving no US troops in Afghanistan after the end of next year. That is pretty much seen as most likely to be a diplomatic bluff designed to extract concessions from Hamid Karzai. But Barack Obama said today that no matter what happens on that front, the US role post-2014 will be very limited. He says that it will be restricted only to training and advising Afghan troops on the one hand and being able to go after the remnants of Al-Qaeda on the other. And he says that those roles will require a dramatically reduced US footprint.
Starting this spring, our troops will have a different mission: training, advising, assisting Afghan forces. It will be a historic moment and another step toward full Afghan sovereignty, something I know that President Karzai cares deeply about, as do the Afghan people. This sets the stage for the further reduction of coalition forces. We've already reduced our presence in Afghanistan to roughly 66,000 U.S. troops. I've pledged we'll continue to bring our forces home at a steady pace, and in the coming months I'll announce the next phase of our drawdown.
Mr. Obama made those comments at the White House after a long meeting with Afghan President Hamid Karzai. The Afghan leader revealed more details about the transition, including how the country will deal with the Taliban.
We agreed on allowing a Taliban office in Qatar, in Doha, where the Taliban will engage in direct talks with the representatives of the Afghan High Council for Peace, where we will be seeking the help of relevant regional countries, including Pakistan.